We've all been there. It might have happened last week. Picking up your son outside his middle school, you watched as he stood on the sidewalk while his classmates swirled around him, leaving for sleepovers, birthday celebrations, or impromptu parties that came together right under his nose. His frozen smile as he stood there, hanging in until the last minute in the hope that an invitation might come his way, made you crumble inside. As did the knowledge that, other than try to offer up an alternative weekend plan for family fun, which he would undoubtedly dismiss as just sad, there was nothing you could do to help. It might have happened last year. You bought your daughter a too expensive white Abercrombie dress for her 8th grade graduation because, she said, everybody was wearing one, and you knew how badly she wanted to fit in. But on the morning of the ceremony, when she went to join her classmates, you realized that everybody was, in fact, only the clique of rich, popular girls who had dropped her 2 years earlier. They were all lined up, posing as their parents snapped pictures. When they saw your daughter walking toward them, they burst into laughter. And their parents, who not so long ago had been your friends, laughed too. Or it might have happened a long time ago. You walked into your 7th grade homeroom on the first day of school a couple of minutes late and saw that everyone was pushing desks together into friend group clusters. Your best friend was waiting for you, but now the two of you made just a lonely little desk dyad, and all your other friends seemed very happily to have moved on. As the teacher took attendance, you wondered, had some new friendship map been drawn up over the summer? Would there ever be an opportunity to reconfigure the geometry? You didn't look at your friend and she didn't look at you, but as you both sat there uncomfortably, you knew that she was wondering the very same thing. Middle school is brutal. Ask just about anyone, and they'll very likely tell you it was the worst time of their life, if they'll tell you anything at all. If they don't, as is so common, simply let out a cry of raging hormones and cut off the conversation. The awfulness of the middle school years, ages 11 to 14 for kids these days, 12 to 14 or 15 for adults if they're old enough to have attended what in previous generations was 7th to 9th grade junior high, is a given in our country. Suffering through is almost a rite of passage, a modern American initiation ritual marking the transition from a life mostly lived in the warm bubble of home to one that's spent in the colder, sometimes cruel, and always competitive company of peers. Scratch the surface with most people and you'll get a well-remembered anecdote, its details fresh and its telling almost automatic, the way stories told over and over again in the mind often are, particularly when they contain a form of trauma, which for a great many people, middle school truly is. For a long time, I thought there was no greater pain possible than the agonies I'd experienced in 7th and 8th grade. The whispers and giggles, the anonymous slam books in which everyone wrote what they really thought about you, having my oh-so-private journal read out loud before French class, having my every self-conscious habit, licking the front of my braces, chewing my lower lip, biting my nails, pulling in my stomach each time I passed a mirror, mocked and imitated, being dumped by my first boyfriend, coming in one morning in 8th grade to find that, with no warning and for no apparent reason, none of my friends would talk to me, look at me, or even tolerate being in the same room with me, and no one would tell me why. I can still remember how it felt, the ground disappearing beneath my feet. Not a single friendly face, not a word of recognition, much less reassurance. It was like one of those bad dreams where you're shouting and no sound comes out of your mouth. I felt utterly abandoned and completely powerless. I was in a black hole of pain, and it seemed like there was no outside to it. I was fortunate in that, unusually for that time, our concerned homeroom teacher soon stepped in and brokered a conversation to try to clear the air. He put me at one end of his classroom. At the other end sat my longtime nemesis, Marcy, flanked on either side by Anna and Jill, whom I had apparently deeply offended.